Dear students, in this session, we will discuss the construction of macroeconomic models in detail. As we have stated in the previous classes, macroeconomics deals with the broad economic relationships. Broad economic relationship between aggregate economic variables. Macroeconomics is the study of aggregates. So it deals with the broad economic relationships between aggregate economic variables such as total consumption, total investment, national income, aggregate employment, etc. As we have discussed in the previous class, the major themes of macroeconomics are determination of national income, employment, price level, and so many other issues. So to explain the determination of these aggregates, we have to consider the relationship between these aggregates like income, consumption, investment, employment, etc., etc. And much of our attention in macroeconomics is concerned with the construction of models to explain these relationships. In macroeconomics, we construct models to explain these relationships. So to explain the relationship between variables, or to explain economic phenomena, determination of the values of macroeconomic aggregates, we construct a model. And a model is nothing but a set of relationship between variables. A model is nothing but a set of relationship between economic variables. So a model is a set of relationships. It's a set of relationships. So this is a model. If the model is expressed using mathematics, an economic model consists of a set of equations, each of which represents association among economic variables. A model is a set of relationship between variables, and if you use the language of mathematics, a model is a set of equations expressing the relationship between economic variables. And these models, these theoretical constructs, this set of relationships are used to formulate and analyze systematically hypotheses about working of the economy. So these models are used for explaining how a national economy works, or how to determine the value of macroeconomic aggregates like national income, employment, prices, investment, consumption, etc., etc. So models are constructed to explain economic phenomena. To explain economic phenomena, it is in the form of a set of equations. Set of equations showing the interrelationship between economic variables. Now it is clear that it is impossible to capture the complexity of the real world in the form of an economic model. An economy, an aggregate economy, is a highly complex organism, we will say. So you cannot represent or capture the entire complexity of an economic system, a macroeconomy, using a model, using a set of equations. So we are forced to abstract from some of these complexities. So the entire complexity, the full complexity of the economy cannot be captured in any reasonable economic model. So what we do is we abstract from some of these complexities, and these abstractions are made using simplifying assumptions. These abstractions are made using simplifying assumptions. We make some assumptions and we construct models on the basis of these assumptions. And the assumptions are used to simplify reality. Simplify reality. Now, even the most sophisticated economic models having hundreds of equations explaining the interrelationship between variables, there will be assumptions. Even if your model is complex, taking into account a lot of complexities of the real world, even in such models, there will be assumptions. There will be simplifying assumptions. So without assumptions, you cannot construct a model. As an example, in the theory of consumer behavior, we assume that the aim of the consumer is maximization of utility. When we construct a model explaining the behavior of the producer, we assume that the aim of the producer is maximization of profit. When we construct a model of a market, we make assumptions about the working of the market economy, etc., etc. So, assumptions must be made about many things, commonly about one, motivation of economic agents such as consumers, producers, investors. When we model the behavior of an economic agent, you have to make assumption about the motivation of the economic agent as consumer, as investor, etc. When we formulate a production process, you have to make assumption about the nature of technological improvement taking place in the production process. The nature of technological improvement taking place in the production process. Or you have to make assumptions about the type of organizational structure in a particular market and so on. So you have to make assumptions about the behavior of the economy, organization of the market, type of technical processes going on in the economy, etc. And as a general point, we can say that the complexity of the model is inversely related to the number of assumptions, or the realism of the model is directly related with the complexity. So if the number of assumptions increases, complexity of the model decreases, but the realism of the model also decreases. So if you are constructing a simplified model, there will be many assumptions, but it will not be able to explain realistically the real world. So as the number of assumptions increases, complexity of the model decreases. But remember this, in any model, whether it is a simple or a complex model, you have to make assumptions. Assumptions are used to make simplifications of the complexity of the real world. It is abstraction from reality. And there are many issues about or a point of view about the realism of assumptions, and such things will be discussed later. So in macroeconomics, let me conclude, to explain economic phenomena, we have to construct models explaining interrelationship between variables. Then only we can explain economic phenomena such as national income, employment, unemployment, inflation, and so many other factors.